Welcome back to the Make a Baby podcast. I'm Carolina Sotomayor, your podcast host and Reiki womb healer. This is episode 100. 100 people, we've made it. It's been a long time to get here, and I know some people never get here from what I understand from my podcast strategist and coach. Some people quit after the 7th episode. About 70% of podcasters quit after the 7th episode. Did you know that? Well, you do now. So something special planned for this episode, and I think that you're going to be super grateful for it. I certainly am. So what I have done is we had 68 guests over the course of a year and a half of this podcast. This podcast came out in 2022. And when we first came out with this podcast, it was called Who's Your Mother's Podcast. And basically, that title was meant to, like, who's your mother? So, like, it's to remind you of, like, who you are as a mom. And it was, I think, 10 or 12 interviews of people. I think it was 12 interviews of people that I knew, of women who had significant stories. They had expertise to share. I literally knew nothing about microphones. I didn't know you were supposed to wear headphones with microphones, and now I have fancy headphones that are invisible that go inside my ears, so I can wear a hat and wear earrings comfortably. I didn't know much about video and podcasting. I didn't know much about editing or sound. So thank you for staying with me from the cringeworthy days of episode 1 through 12, and then morphing into what I call the Carolina Sotomayor podcast. And then in May of this year, we rebranded to the Make a Baby podcast. And now we are married eternally to this podcast name, the Make a Baby podcast. And we have the Make a Baby membership. So the greatest wisdom of all time for getting pregnant and motherhood. That's what today's episode title is. And what I did was I surveyed the 68 past guests that we have interviewed. There's been doctors, there's been chiropractors, there's been fertility acupuncturists, there's been people named the period whisperer. We've had people from Missouri, from England, Australia, Canada. We've had people from Florida, Texas, Alabama, everywhere you can imagine, California, interviewed on this podcast. And they have the ones that responded, I'm going to share today, including their episode number, their name, and what they shared. I asked these people to answer at least one question out of these 4. And the questions I asked was, what do you wish you had known at the start of your fertility, pregnancy, postpartum, or motherhood journey that would have made all the difference? The second one, what was your biggest healing breakthrough as an adult and why? Third question, what do you wish you could do over again and why? Fourth question, what is your favorite thing about Reiki? Because a lot of these women I have talked to have had Reiki sessions with me or are familiar with Reiki, or some of them haven't had Reiki at all. So they could choose between all those questions. And I'm going to choose one at the end, off the cuff, and answer it on the air here with you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for celebrating 100 episodes with me. I couldn't have done this without you. We have also, along the way, we've reached spots as high as 41 and 52 in the top 100 twice. We've ranked in Jordan, Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, here in the United States. And I believe there was another country, I just can't remember. I think there was like a total of like 8 or 9 countries, and that was 7. But we are global, and we've ranked, and I've achieved all of the big podcast milestones and goals that I wanted to achieve. And now it's going to be 200, and see how long it takes us to get to 200. And we're going to start highlighting more of guests who are actual clients that have had success stories, and actually more Reiki focused, more woo focused, more spiritual focus, more energetics. So let's dive in. The first one is Christina Vega, And she was episode 13, trying to conceive with endometriosis. And she wrote, my biggest healing breakthrough as an adult was healing my father relationship. This took the longest for me because I had to heal from my real dad not being there and accept an apology I never got from him and heal from the pain he caused by not being there growing up. Then I had to heal my stepfather relationship. So she goes on, I didn't have a real father growing up. I also had to heal that father relationship. It was a huge weight off my shoulders and has helped me in the healing process so much. I never would have needed this. Words are hard for me today. I never would have known that this needed to be healed if it hadn't been for Carolina guiding me on this path to healing my womb and my fertility. Well, thank you, Christina, for that. I think the father relationship is like one of the most important things to address, especially if you're trying to conceive. Fertility, that's the number one thing. As a woman, our fertility is directly related to our parents and our emotional bond with them and the things that we inherit as limiting beliefs or great beliefs. We need to address those. So the father wound is one. If you're trying to conceive and you're not having success, that's the first thing. If someone asks me, what do I need to heal? How do you feel about your dad? How was it between ages 0 and 7? Was he around, not around? Was he affectionate, not affectionate? Because that will have a great impact on your self-worth, your self-esteem, the people you date, whether they're good people, if they treat you well. Because if you have self-worth, you're going to choose a better partner. I know this was true for me. The next one is Rachel Tran. She was episode 4, one of my favorite episodes. I have never laughed so much in a podcast episode. She's also one of my best friends. She's a parenting coach and a postpartum doula. Her episode was about what is positive parenting. So she wrote, I wish I would have learned to nurture myself during the pregnancy and postpartum time so that I could present my best self to my child. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Sometimes sacrificial love leads to resentment instead of unconditional love, and that's a hard balance to find and sustain. And the next thing is, my favorite thing about Reiki is that it simultaneously gentle and powerful. It is the energy embodiment, simple and complex. It holds the key to healing for so many people. I have personally have given Rachel Reiki many times in person and virtually. She lives here locally to me here in Nebraska, and she is a huge part of my life. I met her shortly after Ollie was born. She helped me with breastfeeding, baby wearing. She's helped me with my gentle parenting. She's helped me break a lot of generational trauma and parenting trauma from when I was young. Because what they don't tell you is when you want to parent your child differently is that you're going to have to regulate your emotions first before you can parent your child. And sometimes your child can trigger you. So when you're trying to parent different than what you grew up with, sometimes you need support. And Rachel's been that for me, and she's been life-changing. She has a bond with my husband, my son, and myself. So I highly always recommend getting a coach, especially a parenting coach. If you need help, always reach out. She's amazing. Oh, this is another great one. I have loved this episode so much. It was also a very funny episode. Episode 62. This is with Heather Graham Murphy. Her episode was How Breathwork Reduces Stress and Fertility. And the question she responded to, what was your biggest healing breakthrough as an adult and why? She said, when I realized that it was with the love within me that would heal me and attract everything I ever desired for my life. That's pretty powerful. I love that. Our next person is from episode 91, so it's more recent. Her name is Mikkel McCracken. And did you love that last name? McCracken. And her episode was how to be productive as a mom. And this episode was really great because Mikkel has a great accent and she's so easy to talk to and so great to listen to. Her question was, I wish I could have allowed myself to be more present with my babies and more relaxed about my business goal instead of trying to do both at once. I work so hard while raising my babies and don't remember a lot of it now. I wish I had found people who were on the same business building while raising babies' journey so that I could have learned strategies and not felt so alone. I think when we're entrepreneurs, and Mikkel's an entrepreneur, it is, we start it because we want time and autonomy and we want more work-life balance. We just don't want to be building someone else's dream. But it is with a lot of hours. It is with a lot of strength and bravery and courage, and sometimes a lot of touch and go of like not knowing how it's going to work out. So I really do believe finding the people who are doing the same thing you are while raising children that are similar ages to your children so they can relate to, or maybe a little bit further along, that they can support you. And so if you're on an entrepreneurial journey and you need a village, shout out to your girl, because I be raising an almost 7-year-old over here with 3 puppies and running 2 companies. I know the hustle. Okay, our next one is Adrien Isari, episode 68, and she was speaking about solving unexplained infertility. I love Adrien so much. We're soul sisters. She also does alternative medicine, and she's totally worth looking into. She does sound healing for fertility. Her whole practice is all about fertility. She's amazing. Such a good soul. The question was, what do you wish you had known at the start of your fertility journey that would have made all the difference? She responded and said that it doesn't happen as fast as you want it to. The more time you put into preparation, the more easeful the experience will be, both in timing and health of the body. It's so true. Okay, so now it's my turn. My question that I probably want to answer 2 of these, but what do I wish I had known at the start of my fertility, pregnancy, postpartum, motherhood journey that would have made all the difference? Oh, so many good ones. That you don't have to have everything figured out to be a good mom. You don't need to have it all figured out. I don't need to have retirement all figured out. I don't need to know how I'm going to diaper. I don't need to know, the best bassinet, or how we're going to potty train. You don't need to know that when you're pregnant. Like, do do what's best for you if you love to research that. But I made myself crazy and overthought everything, and I thought I had to figure it all out. Before I got pregnant, I was researching Montessori schools. When I was in my first trimester, I was touring baby daycares and making my mother-in-law go with me. That's not healthy. I was kind of a fanatic. I was like stressing myself out that didn't need to. The last thing that I would say is I wish I had known the more I do heal of the things that are really painful in my life from my past, the easier my pregnancy, birth, and postpartum would be. Because my pregnancy, my birth, and postpartum were traumatic, and I mean severe, um, super bad complications, difficult recoveries physically and emotionally and mentally, I probably would have done more up front. But because I feel like, yes, I was a good worker, I was a professional, I had a college degree, I was married, I feel like I was kind of immature in the facts of I endured and I know how to handle big life stressful events and had to, again, I knew how to endure. But I was so goofy and I was so, um, I wasn't like as mature as other people were. And I think that just because you have done all the checklists, I think that I wouldn't have done it. But I wish if I could go back and talk to my younger self and say, hey, There's some really dark times ahead. There's a way to get around that, though. Start therapy now. Start therapy before your dad dies. Start therapy before, start therapy and healing these things, these awful things that happen to you. Know that it's not your fault, but start healing that stuff now, because you deserve to enjoy these milestones to motherhood. You deserve not to suffer. And that's my message to you, is that if this is your first time trying to conceive, or it's your first time getting pregnant and this is your first pregnancy, ask all the questions. You deserve to have a great experience the first time around, not the second time and have to learn from pain. You deserve to have a great experience through it all. So if you are having trouble conceiving, know that that's like a warning of, we got some stuff to heal. And most of the time when we're trying to conceive, it's a spiritual awakening. That's what I'm finding more and more of, is that women who are trying to conceive and they're having trouble conceiving, it's their spiritual awakening. It's a deepening of their connection to their soul. And they are seeking more than just answers to why I don't have a period or why didn't I conceive this cycle. It's more of a connection to your soul, your power, your higher self, connection to your spirit baby, your chakras, understanding your purpose here. It's asking of more. And I would say, what was your biggest healing breakthrough as an adult and why? That's kind of complex. I would say learning to say yes and learning to say no. Learning to say yes to myself and learning to say no to others. It would be embracing a mindset of a CEO, because when I became a CEO and I left corporate, it was because I had to be really comfortable with uncertainty. I had to be really comfortable with not knowing all the answers. And I felt safe within my body. And I felt safe to be myself. So if I had to answer that again, probably the greatest breakthrough was feeling safe to be myself, because that led me to want to leave corporate and go full-time in Reiki and start my businesses, to be full-time self-employed, to feel safe to be who I am, to take up space, to be unapologetic with my gifts as a medium, that I can see inside people's wombs, that I do something different, that I feel safe to speak about it, to try new things, quit things, start podcasts, and find out you have a natural talent for it. Or that I'm really techie and I love all the back end and the tech and the generation, the production of a podcast. I feel safe to fall in love with myself every day. Feeling safe with who I am in my body at 290 pounds, that's beautiful. And I find myself beautiful and I love my life. And to feel safe to say that and not to have to diminish myself anymore. So when I felt safe to be me and I felt safe in my body, I felt safe in my personality and my soul, my whole life changed. And that has been my biggest breakthrough. I smile more, I laugh deeper, I take time to sleep. I'm not hustling all the time anymore. I have better conversations because I say the things that I need to now. I don't bite my tongue. I am very careful in what I do say and how I say it, because I care for others and I care about those around me. And I feel safe to eliminate people from my life if they are not serving a purpose. I feel safe to, I had a contract that I had for 14 months. I was COO of a media company and I quit. I didn't like it anymore. It wasn't a good fit. So I felt safe to do that because I had done the work within me and I was connected to my soul. So this is the greatest wisdom of all time for getting pregnant and for motherhood. I hope that you are pregnant. I hope that you get pregnant. I hope that you have an easy pregnancy. I hope you have an easy birth, and I hope you have an easy postpartum. But most of all, I hope you know there's people out here in the online space, in the podcast space, that want to support you, that want you to feel loved and supported, and to help you navigate these experiences and milestones to motherhood, because it can be very isolating. It can be very painful to do that alone and in silence. And you deserve to have support. You deserve to have positive experiences, because all of these experiences stay with you, especially your birth and postpartum. So thank you. Thank you so much for being with me here on my 100th episode. I can't express the joy, the gratitude, and the sincere happiness I have felt in this adventure to get here. So we have some new things coming in store for you. Every episode in the month of October, we are giving away 1 month membership to a lucky new person every single episode. All you need to do is leave a review, and we will pull one person every single episode. And to find out if you win, you just tune into the next one. So far, we haven't had anyone leave a new review. So that's why there's not a new person getting it 1 month free in the Make a Baby membership yet. So calling all in our listeners, I love you. If you want a month free inside the Make a Baby membership, come on over. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. There's so many ways to do that. You can go to the show notes. There's a link on how to leave a review. If you have an Android, there's other websites you can leave it. The link in the show notes will tell you what to do. And I would love to give you a month free in the membership. This month, we are talking about your womb's divine feminine flow, and how to embody that feminine flow, how to access it, how to awaken it and activate it, how to ensure that you are living with balanced masculine and feminine. Sometimes some women have more masculine energy than feminine, and we need to even that out. And we have an office hours calls next Friday. That's where you can come and ask any questions. And if you're having sensations in your body, if you need a card pulled, if you need advice on what to heal next in the membership, that's what the office hours are for. And then we have a live healing call later in the month on the 24th. I would love to see you inside. If you want to join, love to have you. Otherwise, leave us a review, and perhaps maybe you'll win a 1 month free next Tuesday. We have episodes coming out Tuesday and Friday. Until then, my friends, let the Reiki flow, and I'll talk to you next week. Frustrated being told you are fine by your doctor, exhausted from negative pregnancy tests every month, wanting a deeper connection on your fertility journey with your spirit baby? The Make a Baby membership is exactly what you need. Using Reiki will help you connect to your spirit baby, heal the trapped emotions blocking fertility, and support you in our life-changing community. With over 90 Reiki babies, we invite you to try the Make a Baby membership for free. Check it out in the show notes. Let's get you pregnant.